Hello YouTube. These are the famous speed mats. And if you look, I put a measuring device down on the floor, and this mat that slows you down is not even a couple inches tall. As you can plainly see, it's very small, very little obstruction. And here we go over one of the mats right now, and they slow you down without doing any major, there's no damage to your car. And if you look at the community center, there will be no mats to slow people down for safety. This is 154th. If you go down this street, there's a school. It's one of Lawndale's schools. And if you notice here, it looks like it's a straight, fast street that you can just run the stop signs to the school, but you can't. Let me show you what's going on. So if you look here, there's these dips in the road, and they used to be all throughout Lawndale. And you see my measuring stick next to the speed map that was earlier? Hardly any influence there. But here, it disappears. And as you see, not too much clearance. So if you notice, people cannot go down 154th Street. That looks like it'd be a great street to go flying down because of these reversed speed map humps. And these are dramatic, and they're all throughout Lawndale. There used to be more, but let me show you. So now at another street, 154th and Freeman, as you notice, if I was to go faster than the speed, I would bottom my car out. And for that reason, this school is protected. It has reverse speed mats. So if you notice, this is 153rd Street in Larch. It's the same thing. These are a gutter system that runs throughout Lawndale that impedes traffic from going over the speed limit. And if you go faster than the speed limit, your car bottoms out into cement. So that was Will Rogers. This is Jane Addams. So we're at Gravilla and 153rd. And if you notice there, if my car went really quick into the cement, it would bottom out right at the cement. This is Gravilla Avenue, and most of the avenues people don't speed down because they're so narrow. They're so narrow that you can't even park on both sides of the street. All the east and west streets, and all the avenues are north and south. If you look at this street, it looks like, I think this is 154th. It looks like it's an open street, and you can run this stop sign as fast as you want. So we're at Fremona and 154th. So yeah, it looks pretty crazy, right? But you can't because of these. Watch. So the first one, my car bottomed out. So let's back up on the street, which it's legal to back up. And let's get out and look at this. So there's Jane Addams. Look at this. These are everywhere in Lawndale, except for 147th Street. So 154th and Condon, same speed bump. And if you look, you go fast enough, it will bottom out my car. In all these reverse speed humps, there are no signage to tell you to slow extra down. These are the way all the city of Lawndale used to be. If you notice the little track in the gutter itself, that was everywhere in Lawndale. All these little humps were everywhere in Lawndale, and throughout the years, they've been paved over into nice smooth streets that people can go 60 miles an hour. This is another good one, 151st, 153rd in Condon. If you look, the same speed humps, the wheel catcher for the tires for your car, for your bicycle. I used to live on this street, so I know. So this is the street that leads into Jane Addams, and if you look, all the east and west running streets are super wide. And you would think you could just barrel down this street because there's no school signage, there's nothing, no stop signs. But what slows down people from going? It's this. Okay? So that was 20 miles an hour. If I went faster, I would bottom out. These little gutter indentions are all over Lawndale. This is right by the school, Jane Addams. Here's another one. This is Fremona and Marine. They're on every street, practically. And the ones they're not on, people speed very quickly down. We're here in North Lawndale again. So this is 149th and Fremona. If you notice, that car just dipped into there. So if I was to go fast on this avenue, this north and south running avenue, and not care about the stop signs, I would run into one of these big dips and screw my car up on the cement. We're asking for matting to slow people down on 147th Street. 147th Street's an open highway. Most of your avenues in Lawndale, this is Manziel by the school, are so narrow people don't as much fly down the streets indiscriminately as they do 147th Street, being an east and west running street and being how large it is without these humps. So I'm going to stop and go over. There's just one. They went over the other one. See that large hump? They went over the other one. All the streets, before there were stop signs in the 70s, there was no stop signs. Very few. There were gutters everywhere you went. You had to stop. And there was cement. Here's 147th, smooth as ice. It's been smoothed over so many times that, see that car just run the stop sign? It's because it's 147th Street. This is 149th and Manziel. If you notice, there's a gutter on this side, and they covered up the one on that side. These gutters used to run deeper, and they were everywhere. So here we're coming up to Kingsdale and 149th, and you see the same guttering dips in the road. They're everywhere. If I was to go to South Lawndale, you would see the gutters. They're even bigger over there. So let's continue on to this last one. So people have to go on 147th Street because these other streets are blocked off going east and west. This is the 149th Street in Condon, and look at those beautiful bumps, huh? Let me go over those at 10 miles an hour. Watch this. Pretty crazy, huh? Yep. So between Rosecrans, I'm on 147th Street going east. Between Rosecrans and Marine, 147th Street is the only thoroughfare. There's no gutterings. They're all been covered up. Nobody stops at the stop signs, are inapplicable. And it's dangerous. So if we had the same matting that I started off this video with, was extremely, see, all the gutterings have been covered up. The matting that's behind the Civic Center is all we need for our street here, the superhighway. This superhighway, the matting is not as, doesn't have the same bumping as you've seen the natural guttering systems do here in Lawndale. And the percentage of the bump in those, and I didn't take the measurement, supersedes 15 degrees. 15 degrees is what big trucks have a hard time with. After 15 degrees, if you're a truck driver, you start having issues because the grade is too much for big trucks. So some of these bumps are bigger than a speed bump at a grocery store or a speed mat, which we're asking for to save ourselves here in Lawndale. 147th Street, look, there's no dip in the road where it's needed. LA County put, last year, LA County put speed humps or speed maps around every single one of their schools, knowing that it's an issue. The second largest school district, the second largest city in the country, is putting the speed mats for safety. Nothing. Look, nothing. It's a clear highway to go as fast as you want. I showed you some of the areas in Lawndale. If you go to North Lawndale, near the other schools, you'll see humps as well everywhere. They're cement humps that can completely damage your car. So this is not what we're looking for. We're looking for speed maps to be put around the school and 147th Street for our public safety. So let's do what LA County's done with all their money and research. Thank you.